So I'm here with Lindsay today. Lindsay is starting to train for a powerlifting competition, so there's some general soreness with that, probably a couple things misfiring, and then just some general tightness in through the neck and shoulders. One of the first things we're going to check is going to be in through the hips. A lot of the squats and deadlifts are at least heavy, newer-ish thing, so I'm going to get you face down for me here. And perfect. So I'm going to just start by palpating, feeling in through the spine, seeing how everything's moving. Definitely a little tight there, and you're obviously jumping. Ticklish or painful?
Painful.
Okay, sorry about that. And then coming down to the SI joints, you feel a little more stiff in through that left side. So if I give you some good pressure through the right, that's nice and smooth. Left side does feel fairly stiff to give pressure through too. And then I'm going to bend both your knees up here. And so you can kind of see that that left leg bends further than the right, which will usually mean there's a little bit of deviation in the sacrum. And then I'm going to get you to raise that right leg up as high as it'll go for me in the air. And then relax. And then left leg up as high as it'll go for me. And those are nice and even at the moment. I'm also going to check the hamstring here. I'm going to have you curl up in it. And that's nice and solid. And then same thing here. And try that one more time. It's a little more challenging, obviously, to recruit that right hamstring. And there we are. So if I straighten the pelvis out, kind of hold you in that more neutral position, if you curl that up, we do see that corrects the hamstring. It's easier to recruit. And so we'll make that change now. I'm going to ask you to turn so you're facing over towards the windows. Over here. Perfect. That was easy. And then I'm going to get you facing the other way. Nice. And then I'm going to get you back face down for me. So that'll fix a lot of the restrictions in through the pelvis. And now that that's done, without having to support you, that is much happier. And again, having straightened out that sacrum too. Knees are bending nice and even. I'm going to ask you to raise that right leg up as high as it'll go for me. And then left. And actually, hair better on the right. So we've kind of peeled back a layer, and then the next step up is usually the lower thoracic spine here. And that's that spot where you're kind of sore.
A little bit.
So for this adjustment, I'm going to ask you to just bend your knees up, both of them, as you breathe out for me here. So when you're ready, nice deep breath in. And out. A little quieter than I was hoping for on that one, but it does seem to be moving. And then if you raise that right leg up as high as it'll go again. So that's looking good. And then, moment of truth, it's going to be the left leg. And we are actually still just hair limited there. Interesting. Oh, actually. So the other thing is you do feel a little hypotonic or under firing in through that left side. I'm going to check the QL here. So I'm going to bring both your legs over to your left. And I'm going to try and bring you back to the right. Try that one more time. And that's pretty challenging. And then, Lindsay, I'm going to get you to bring your hand just to the bottom of the ribs right there for me. And then same thing, hold me over to left. And that seems a lot easier for me. I'm going to let you relax there. And so that is a lymphatic drainage point. So basically just the waste drainage out of that QL. It's not happening so well. And then if I bring you back over to, yep, and then hold me here. Beautiful. Same thing over on the other side. There we go. And then I'll have you raise the right leg up as high as it'll go. And then left leg up as high as it'll go. There it goes. And that'll start to feel better for sure, or look better at least. Now, up through here, You are very nice and tight. I just want to see if I get you to breathe for me here. And out. Okay, that is actually perfect. I'm going to move the camera a bit if that's... So this one's a little unscientific, but if I get you to take a nice deep breath in here, you can see the thumb on the right moves sort of outwards, whereas that thumb on the left is just kind of coming a little bit up and down. So that means that thumb on the left, the rib under it, is not moving very well. One more nice deep breath in, and again, you're seeing that excursion on the left. So we're going to adjust for that rib movement there. I'm going to have you take a nice deep breath in for me here, and out. Good. And that pop back into place nicely. And then nice deep breath in again. And so this time you're seeing the excursion on that left side. Perfect. Gonna check a very similar thing up here. Nice deep breath in. So again, you're seeing that right-sided rib excursion, not so much on the left. One more breath in for me here. And out. And then we'll adjust in there. Breath in, out. Perfect. And then breath in. So post-adjustment, again, we're seeing more rib excursion on that left side. And so as the ribs open up better, it should feel less restricted when you're breathing. And then coming up into your CT, so right where the shoulders meet the neck, tends to be a very, very high stress area. And with that high stress area tends to come a lot of tension, sometimes pain, and this is specifically for you, Lindsay, I know, a bit of a stress point. Now this one, I'm going to borrow your head. I'm going to bring you over to the side, and that's going to create the right amount of tension in the spine to be able to get that to move. And then as you breathe out, we'll get that moving for you. Now this one tends to be more of a one-sided thing, so we're going to adjust a very similar one over here. I'm going to bring you over to the left this time, and then breath in, and out. Perfect. So that on its own is taking a lot of pressure out of there, and that actually, even without getting directly into the neck, is going to help with being able to move in through the neck. And you've got some good ones in there. Can I move the camera out of the way here? And I'm going to ask you just to turn as far as you can to your right for me here. Not too bad. And then to your left. And that feels more limited to the left, eh?
Yeah.
From my perspective, that looks a lot more limited. And so that is going to be one of the signs that we can do some adjustments in through there, paired with palpation, and that is obviously very, very tight right there.
Yeah.
If I press in, does that pain travel anywhere?
No.
Okay, perfect. Sometimes that one will start to cause headaches, stuff like that. If it's not, that's better. But that upper cervical joint, sort of like C1, is where a lot of our rotation through the neck comes. And so that will more than likely, getting that adjusted, help correct some of your rotation restrictions through there. Down through here, I'm going to borrow your right arm here. I'm going to ask you to press straight up into me. So it's a little challenging to recruit that delt. And then if I hold you with some pressure in through there, I'll have you perfect. Hold that there. And then I'm going to let you relax. And I'm going to do a couple adjustments with you sitting here. So I'm going to borrow your head. I'm going to just fold you over to your right over my hand. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a pull through there. So that was a nice big one. And then taking some tension off in through the joints, and then with the associated nerves controlling that delt, if you press up after that, much, much, much easier to recruit that. There is going to be one more. This one I'm actually kind of curious. Can I get you to look down for me? Sometimes I'm going to get you to hold that down. I'm going to try and lift you. But not in this case. That restriction will be associated with a bit of that weakness. From here though, same idea. I'm going to fold you over, and then I'm going to give you a pull in through your left side. Perfect. From here, I'm going to ask you to look back over the right shoulder as far as you can, which looks even a little better than it did, and then the left shoulder. And again, that left shoulder looks like it's moving a lot better. Perfect. Now, another one I'm going to check here is just going to actually, I'm going to just check the frame. I think we were a little higher on that one, sorry. I appreciate you putting up with me here.
Oh, that felt so good.
Good.
Like my head feels so light now.
Good. Now you do also tend to have tight shoulders, and so bringing you back here, you can kind of see that range is limited. You're not going as far back. Your right side tends to be a little bit better than your left, although today you're moving better in pure extension like that, coming up. That horizontal extension is pretty limited there. So we can adjust through the shoulders, get that horizontal extension back. You okay there?
Yep.
Good. And that opens up better. And then we'll switch you here so we know again, limited there, limited there. And if I pull that elbow up into you, nothing wants to make much noise through your shoulders today, but you are opening up better, that's the big one. Good. So in through here, Lindsay, I'm going to ask you to bring your fingers apart and push those apart. So these are little muscles in through the hand called the interossei, and they are not firing super well. And then I'm going to have you bring your pinky and thumb together. Try and hold those together for me. And that's also not firing very well. And so for you, if I get you to bring your left hand and just put some gentle pressure through your wrist like that, and then hold that there again. Again, we do see that change. Same thing if you push the fingers apart. Good. We do see that change, and then just for fun, if you take that left hand away and push apart, that goes away, and then pinky and thumb, and squeeze, and that goes away. So I'm going to adjust through your wrist here. Actually, I'm going to take that off for a sec.
Okay.
There we go. Sorry about that. And what I'm going to ask you to do is just gently lean back for me. Just going to open up the wrist that way, and I'll have you just gently shake that out. When you're ready, I'll have you push apart with the fingers for me. Good. 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 And then pinky and thumb back together, and good. Okay. I'm going to try your other hand here. Can I bring you out here? That should be pretty good there. So I'm going to have you push those fingers apart. So challenging there. And then, yep, you got it, and squeeze. And so, again, challenging there. And then I'm going to ask you to bring your right hand, gentle pressure in through the left wrist, push apart, and good. Good, and then you got it. And then again, just for fun, if you take that off and push. So with that pressure through the wrist, we do see that come back, and then goes away very quickly afterwards. So it does mean there's a joint dysfunction through the wrist that is causing not like a carpal tunnel necessarily, but some pressure on the nerves controlling the muscles in there. So same idea, I'll have you lean back. That one clunked in very nicely there. I'll have you just gently shake the hand out. And then if you push the fingers apart, without actually having to support the wrist this time, we're seeing that move better and fire better. Good. That was really good. Thank you. So this is a really cool one, testing out some muscles called the rectus femoris, which run right along the thigh and are some hip flexors. I'm going to have you kick up into me here. And so they're fairly hard to recruit, and actually on both sides here. And for Lindsay, if you put both hands just right in through the hips, gently supporting the tendons, kick up, we see a big, big change in how those are functioning. So I'm going to let you relax your arms there. And I'm going to work with the percussor on actually upper and lower tendons. So the idea behind this is if the tendons take a lot of strain and we get some micro tears in them, the muscles themselves, there's a mechanism that will shut the muscles down to protect the tendons from taking too much more strain. And what we're doing here is just working on gently taking some of the pressure out, smoothing out the micro tears in those tendons. And usually fairly quickly, we're going to see the muscles start to kick in again. Ticklish in there? You let me know if it's too much. So this would be referred to as what's called an origin and insertion technique, because you're working on both the origin and then the insertion of the muscle, where it starts and where it finishes. And again, you're getting deep enough in that you're hitting the tendons. Now this one you can do by hand too, with just some very firm circular pressure in there, but for the sake of my hands and my career, it is easier to not always abuse them. Now, post having done that, I'm going to ask you to kick up into me again, and so without actually having to support the tendons, you're able to take a fairly significant amount of my body.